What up, viewers? What up? What up? Today is Friday, May 3rd, and just have time for a quick recap of the week in video games. So it's Friday. That means I'm going to be talking about some video game news and what happened this week in video games. So big and important, and you knew I'd be talking about it because I talk about it all the time. Borderlands 3 had a gameplay reveal. Randy Pitchford went on stage and talked for about an hour. It was broadcast on Twitch. I don't know if it was broadcast in other places. But they got on stage and they did a gameplay reveal. I bet people were frothing at the mouth after their reveal at the end of March, beginning of April. And now people want to know what gameplay looks like because the game comes out in 5 months or so. So gameplay reveal was freaking awesome. There wasn't any BS with Randy doing a magic trick, and there wasn't a board game to get halfway excited about. It was just almost a whole hour of straight gameplay. It looks awesome. They even started off with a little joke of like, "Hey, look at this screen cap. It looks really nice, right? Oh wait, this is actual freaking gameplay." And then they just cut to, they showed you the tutorial, and they just went straight into it. Lots of freaking new and quality of life changes that Borderlands has needed for a while. Oh my god, they have been sitting and waiting and listening to everybody who wants anything to do with the looter shooter. They have been analyzing, dissecting, and understanding what's been going on. The game has sliding now. You can like slide around like you can in Titanfall 2. You've got mantling, so you can jump around and climb up things, as opposed to I think they just had a straight jump. That was kind of floaty and weird, especially if you go back and play it now. But great for the time. They have alternate firing guns, so not only do they have like a giant, diverse set of guns that you can play with, but they also they have alternate fire modes that you can switch between, like switching between two different types of elements, or switching between burst fire. It's not even as simple as like burst fire to single shot. It's like, I'm gonna make this shotgun, rather than explode, it's gonna have a shield in front of it while you shoot it. Just crazy freaking nonsense. All the things that you would expect from a Borderlands 3, but 2 guns in 1. So freaking their guns are even more diverse. They might as well say they have 2 billion guns, because their guns are so versatile and useful. It looks awesome. I saw destructible terrain, which is super cool. I've never like wanted destructible terrain in any of my shooters, but just having it means that you've like taken the time to consider like, hey, wouldn't this be cool? They showed off 2 characters, Amara and Zane. Amara being the siren of the group, and Zane being the operative, who's got like a cool turret that runs around. Amara's doing all sorts of elemental magic BS. Another thing they showed off was loot instancing. This is a huge thing. So loot instancing hasn't been like new or unique to the looter shooter realm for a while. Just that any loot that drops is loot exclusively to the person who's in that world or who's playing it. But they've taken it to the next logical step, and their loot instances are now level adjusted based on the player who's playing. Meaning that if I'm level 5 and I'm running around and I'm picking up level 5 gear, and I bring in a level 60 guy, he's gonna be dropping in all the gear that's gonna be dropping for him is going to be level 60. And then the person who's level 60, their damage output is just going to be downgraded to the level of the lowest person in the lowest common denominator, I guess. That's super awesome. Like, they've taken the time to freaking make this finessed, perfect output of a game that they've put in the time, and I can't be more excited about a looter shooter that's entering the realm. They've added a new element type, radiation. I think this is going to replace Iridium, just because Iridium was kind of this weird nebulous thing that no one really knew what it was. And now they have the radiation, that if someone dies while irradiated, they explode and they could irradiate other people. It's kind of like a chaining effect. And then last but certainly not least, they showed a boss fight, which looks super cool. It has mechanics as opposed to just being a DPS race. they have guns that they showed off more of the guns that have turrets, or the ones that when you reload they throw a grenade. Lots of crazy stuff. But the boss fight, so they had the boss and he's like this sound mixing guy, and so he's got a giant shield that like sound mixes. It looks really cool. You'll see it in the video attached. But he also had like a gun that like shoots like sound waves, which looked super cool. And even while watching it, I was like, hey, that'd be really cool if I could get that gun. And at the end, they're like, hey, go loot, hey, game testers, go loot that body. And all of a sudden they pulled out the gun and they had the boss's gun. Like, that level of detail is just so awesome. Like, there's been so many games, especially like Destiny or something like that, where I've seen an enemy that has a really cool weapon and I'll never be able to get that gun until they like give me a version of that gun that's more player friendly. But they just picked up the gun immediately and had it. That is so awesome. I'm jaw on the floor. If I could pre-order it more than once, I would do it. The game looks so cool. They've really taken the time to put in the details, to learn from the past, to build on things that they've already had. They gave us a glimpse at who the bosses, the twins, are going to be, and they're like super like streamers, which is funny because this whole event was built on like streamer. All the people who played the previous Borderlands games, all the big streamer influencers, were at the event and streaming it. So they're really targeting like the streamer audience, and they were just like, hey, what if we had the douchiest streamers as our villains? And that's who they ended up being, which is, it's so funny. Really tongue-in-cheek. I really like what they're doing. They've put in the time, and they're gonna deserve their freaking time in the limelight, because the game's gonna be awesome. And I'm going to be playing the crap out of it. The one thing that I'm still left with a question of like, the question about is like, if I find a gun that's perfect and I want to keep forever, can I like, in World of Warcraft it was called transmogging, and in Diablo I think it was called the same thing. In Division in Destiny it's called infusing. Like, I want the ability to take a gun that I really like, and I want to be able to make it the level I am. So any type of system that they can put in place that keeps it like that, as much fun as it would be to like randomly pull on the loot slot machine, I would also appreciate a way to keep a gun that I really like, even if I've out-leveled it. Or maybe all guns just scale up with me, or maybe I have to go back and kill that same boss again to get a higher level version of the gun. But any way that I can keep the guns that I like and get rid of the ones I can or don't. They gave us Sanctuary, which was like your new Sanctuary is a ship, and you're gonna be moving from planet to planet. Game looks awesome. I can't be more excited about it. I saw gameplay. The shooting looks tight, a lot tighter and less like floaty than it was previously. They've taken the time. They deserve it. The game looks awesome. I'm going to play the crap out of it. Whew. I'm gonna take a sip of water because that was a lot. But Borderlands looks awesome. If you think otherwise, you're wrong. But moving on, we do have other things to talk about in video game news. Epic buys Psyonix. Psyonix, the game that is behind turbo-boosted, rocket-powered soccer cars. I forget what the original name was for it or whatever. But Rocket League. Psyonix is the developer behind Rocket League and has been purchased up by Epic. So I think you can see where that's going, where you're going to see Rocket League on the Epic Store. I don't think it's going to be a Epic Store exclusive. But super exciting. That's crazy. I had made the mistake. I made the mistake of thinking like, oh, why doesn't Epic buy League of Legends? Or Riot Games. They just sit off on their own island to make their own game anyway, and they're PC focused like Epic is. And then I realized they're all owned by Tencent, so it's pretty much the same thing. But yeah, Epic buys Psyonix. I've known a couple people at Psyonix, and I bet they're doing cartwheels because it's a really good acquisition. And I wonder how much money Psyonix. I've did a little research, just trying to see how much money Psyonix is worth, and I wonder what the price tag is on purchasing them. But super cool for that. Speaking of the opposition, Steam announced this week that they had 1 billion accounts. 1 billion. That means if everyone has an account, if those were all unique accounts, that would be 1/8 of the world's population. Nuts! That's nuts. I mean, that's not true because I have 2 accounts. Because I was a dumb 13-year-old and I've now since like forgotten my password to my 13-year-old account. But yeah, that's crazy. 1 billion accounts. So yeah, Steam I don't think is shaking in their boots because Epic is like honing in on their territory. But just shows you the power that Steam has with 1 billion accounts. They've got to be raking it in. Moving on, I also saw some sales numbers this week. Risk of Rain 2, the roguelike multiplayer game that came out I think about a month ago, has reached 1 million units sold. Obviously means it's popular, so I'm thinking about booting up my PC and playing a little bit more PC games, and Risk of Rain might be the one I want to play with a group of friends. So looking forward to playing that sometime soon. You know, I take all things into consideration when I'm looking for which games I want to play with next, and if the game is selling like hotcakes, that means it's got to be doing good, right? Moving on, The Punisher. That's right, you heard it here first. The Punisher is going to be in Ghost Recon Wildlands. I'm only slightly kidding. The actor behind The Punisher, the Netflix series The Punisher, John Bernthal, is going to be. I probably said his last name wrong. John Bernthal is going to be a character in the next expansion DLC for Ghost Recon Wildlands, and he sounds exactly like. I mean, I feel like all of his characters have sound like a gritty, badass war hero, which is why I love his characters in Walking Dead and The Punisher and other shows and movies that he's done. But yeah, he's going to be the main antagonist in the next Ghost Recon Wildlands DLC. Looks cool. The trailer for it's awesome. Check it out below. Tell me what you think. Bloodlines 2, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 has talked about the next clan. So last time they were talking about like a type of character that was new and unique. Now they're talking about the clans. One of the clans that they're talking about this week is the Bruja, and those are going to be your strong and fast vampires. I don't know how much lore you have on Vampire the Masquerade, but there's like 7 different characteristics, and Bruja focus on like strength and speed. So they're going to be your fast and strong and celerity type creatures. And they're also like anarchs. They're anarchic and crazy. So they're anarchists and stuff. So that should be super interesting, seeing how that progresses. I would assume that all the other clans are going to be there. I'm having trouble remembering which ones are which because it's been a while since I played a Vampire the Masquerade game. But yeah, so and it's stylized. It's done really well in like this really cartoon style, which I always like graphic cartoons because cartoons are typically put into like this like made for kids category. But then you interpose that with like vampires biting and eating people, and I always like that like juxtaposition kind of thing. But super cool. Check that out. Moving on, just in time for celebrating Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you tomorrow. Razer has put out some Star Wars peripheral. They have a really cool like white mouse that looks like a stormtrooper helm. That looks awesome. I didn't check out the price tag, but it looks super cool. You should check it out. They had like a keyboard, and they had like a keyboard mat / mouse pad. It was pretty big. That was like very imperial. Everything was very stormtrooper-y themed. So I think there was like a picture of a stormtrooper on the keyboard. The mouse looked super cool. I definitely have some stormtrooper friends who would probably want that mouse, so I'm probably going to pick 1 or 2 up for me and them. And then last but certainly not least, Razer is also putting out a toaster. That's right. Razer, the peripheral company, who's also doing the Star Wars mouse and keyboard, is putting out a toaster. Something about if they got a certain number of likes on their Facebook page or something, that they would totally back it up. And so I just saw a picture of a of an ovoid shaped toaster with that had the Razer like 3-headed snake coming out of it and like green LED lights all around it, and it was a toaster, which is just the coolest thing that I could say this week. A Razer toaster. Now, I have a pretty shitty toaster, but knowing Razer prices, this is probably gonna be like $100 toaster that just does like 2 pieces of bread and has like 1 setting dial on it. But prove me wrong. Make it all freaking digitized and awesome, Razer. But this this crazy freaking toaster is just nuts. I can't say Razer toaster enough. I'm gonna say it. Razer toaster. If you pick it up, tell me about it. We can compare notes on Razer toasters. Anyway, that is it. That was just a quick recap of the week. If you think I forgot anything, feel free to tell me in the comments below. Thanks for people who've responded recently about this. I appreciate any feedback on these. Always trying to get better and improve on them. But that leads us to the outro. If you're watching this on Friday, I'm doing this a little bit earlier. Thanks for watching me on my Twitch. If you're watching me Saturday morning, may the 4th be with you, and I appreciate you watching on my YouTube page. A like and a subscribe goes a long way. If you're watching this live Friday on my Twitch, a like or a follow goes a long way. Always trying to improve my follower count, and a subscribe goes a really long way. I have my own Discord now. If you want to talk about video gaming news there, just find the link in the description below. Yep. And then if you're watching this on Monday, don't forget to say happy birthday to me, because that is my birthday, the day after Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, so I appreciate you watching this. Hope you enjoyed. If you think I forgot anything, leave it in the comments below. Have a super day, have a super weekend, have a super day. Bye!